Hello! Welcome to the Wild Nest.
Let's get busy taming the Wild West, South Dakota style.
If South Dakota isn't on your bucket list, we suggest you add it. Because once you go, you're gonna wish you had gone sooner. We started the second half of our Great American Road Trip with a little taste of Italy. We stopped at Rosa's Pizza, where Aaron made a couple of new friends, and we ate some of the best pizza we've ever had. And you know, at the Wild Nest, we consider ourselves pizza connoisseurs.
With our bellies full, we headed on down the road.
We made a short stop at the Little Bighorn Battlefield, located on the Crow Indian Reservation in southeastern Montana. After a bit of hands-on history, we headed next to Belle Fourche, South Dakota, also known as the geographic center of the nation. Now, there was a time that Kansas was the center of the nation, but once we added Alaska and Hawaii, the center marched west and planted itself firmly in a farmer's field 21 miles north of Belle Fourche. However, since that one's surrounded by barbed wire and marked private property, we'll instead take the photo op at this lovely monument with flags, gardens, and walking paths. The center of my world and the center of the nation? Of course we're getting a picture of that.
After a long day on the road, we finally made it to South Dakota, where the Great Plains meet the Black Hills.
We checked into the beautiful Roosevelt Inn, located in Keystone. Yes, it's named after a president. Yes, there's a swimming pool. Yes, there's a yummy breakfast buffet. But best of all, it's located about 5 minutes from Mount Rushmore. I guess you could call them a famous rock group.
These four faces carved into Mount Rushmore were chosen to reflect our nation's birth, growth, development, and preservation.
We walked down the Avenue of Flags, identified Idaho, of course, and finally reached the Grand View Terrace. We knew immediately that we were face to face with something monumental.
Aaron was able to complete the Mount Rushmore Junior Ranger program. She was sworn in as an official park representative, committed to exploring, learning, and protecting America's national parks.
Mount Rushmore was the big event on this trip. We were able to pass by it and see it from several different angles as we traveled throughout the area. We even returned for an evening lighting ceremony and patriotic program, honoring our nation's history and heroes, with special recognition of veterans in the audience. It was a revolutionary evening, and one our little patriot won't soon forget. After a day of flip-flops, fireworks, and freedom, Cosmo's Mystery Area was next on our itinerary. At this mysterious attraction, you can literally walk up walls and see balls roll uphill. Adults and children find themselves off balance as the weight of gravity pulls you in different directions and plays tricks with your mind.
You can fly like Superman and be taller than your dad. It's a mystery, all right.
We had a prairie good time shopping in town. Aaron found a few hats she couldn't live without, a magical glow-in-the-dark scorpion bracelet, and she met some historical figures, and even a few mythical ones.
After a day of adventure and a night of sweet dreams, it was time for the Wild Nest to meet the Wild West. The hills were calling, so we caught the 1880 steam engine locomotive for a 20-mile journey through the Black Hills, showcasing many historic sites and stunning views within the Black Hills National Forest.
When we arrived in Hill City, South Dakota, we were absolutely charmed by all it had to offer. There were many local artists offering boutique shopping, plenty of souvenir shops, live music, and best of all, the Alpine Inn, offering an authentic German dining experience. As per her standard operating procedure, Aaron ordered a big old plate of food and ate about none of it. We headed back to Keystone by train, enjoying the history on the other side of the tracks this time. Then it was off to the Reptile Gardens, where we had a date with a snake. Reptile Gardens is a world-renowned adventure park set in a beautiful botanical garden. Their collection of fascinating reptiles and exotic flowers is not to be missed if you find yourself in Rapid City, South Dakota. We were awed and amazed during the live shows, and we were equally entertained by the indoor displays as we walked through the Rainforest Dome into the safari room, where we caught a glimpse of Maniac, the largest saltwater crocodile currently in captivity. This big boy weighs in at over 1,600 pounds. Just imagine that grocery bill.
Darn, we wish we had a picture of old Maniac to show you. He was big. He didn't fit on the camera. Do yourself a favor though and Google him. He has quite the bio. Reptile Gardens gets 5 stars from the Wild Nest.
We were not prepared for Wall Drug. Every sign on the side of the road told us to head to Wall Drug for free ice water and 5-cent coffee. There is just so much more than coffee and water at this famous location. We ate their famous maple donuts, took endless photos, had our fortunes told. Barely escaped a hungry T-Rex, and of course, bought a few souvenirs, or as we like to call them, memory preservers.
We've been partying pretty hard at this point, so a scenic ride through Custer State Park and Wildlife Preserve sounded perfect. In no time at all, we're Badlands bound.
We were able to spot several large bison, wild burros, bighorn sheep, and white-tailed deer, coyotes, eagles, hawks, and prairie dogs. From here, it's just obvious you gotta take the long way home and drive the impressive Needles Highway. 14 miles of hairpin turns, narrow tunnels, and world-class views. We had to hold our breath and suck in our tummies to squeeze through the Needles Eye Tunnel. We definitely caught some good vibes in the Badlands.
It was finally time to leave South Dakota and start the long drive home. Turns out Wyoming is a lot bigger than it looks on a map.
Mommy was born in Wyoming, and Daddy took a surprise detour so we could get an up-close look at her humble beginnings. From Idaho to the Black Hills and all stops in between, today's Good Mood has been sponsored by South Dakota. If you haven't been, you gotta go. It's time to say goodbye for now, but you know what that means. It's just hello to our next adventure.
Gotta go, Buffalo. We'll see you soon at the Wild Nest. Don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe.